This is our first card of the tarot deck. It is called the Fool. It is not called the Fool because the person is a fool, not because the person is stupid. No. It is called the Fool because the person is inexperienced and naive. This card, the Fool, represents the querent himself who has set out on this journey. He starts the journey from this very card, the number 0 card, and continues his journey through each of the other cards in the tarot deck. This Fool can be likened to a little child who is inexperienced and come into this world. He has taken birth into this world. This card, the Fool's card, is a very important card, my friends, as it represents the querent himself, and it shows the querent as an infant or as an inexperienced soul. That is why everything that can be likened to a child, an infant, or an inexperienced soul can also be related to the Fool's card, which means that the Fool's card is about new beginnings. It is about excitement. Basically, this Fool, which is the querent, he has started on a new journey. He is ignorant of, since he is inexperienced, he does not know anything about the ways of the world. He is in this position and is about to fall off the cliff. This is also a very important point which we will see in the end of the major arcana, how it takes a complete circle. So he does not know that he is where he is about to step, whether he will fall off or not. His inexperience is the cause of his ignorance. So all of these positive and negative characteristics are associated with the Fool's card. New beginnings, excitement, fearlessness, joy about starting a new journey, starting a new life journey, the lust for life that we see in a child, naivety, thoughtlessness, maybe even going without caution. All these things are represented by the Fool's card. This is the Magician card. The number on the card is 1. This is the second card of the major arcana. When the Fool starts out on his journey, he first encounters the Magician. He is the first person he comes across. This Magician has the potential to create anything from nothing just through his willpower. This Magician is the origin of all 4 suits, also the aces. So this Fool, our Fool, is very in awe of the Magician because inexperienced as our Fool is, he sees that the Magician can create just simply anything out of nothing at all in any of the realms which are represented by our 4 suits, which we will see in the minor arcana. But basically, he can manifest anything in any aspect of the human life. This is why the Magician represents willpower. Further, it also represents trickery and deception because the Magician may use trickery and deception to create. However, he does have the potential to create things. Hence, the Magician is about having power and experiencing power, making a strong impact, taking actions, concentrating, and then acting consciously. Taking with him the tools given by the Magician, the Fool continues on his journey. He comes upon a beautiful but mysterious lady with a curtain behind her which seems to be hiding something. He tells her that he has these tools and he does not understand because there's so much potential within these tools that he cannot really decide what actually to do with these tools. He is unable to take a decision. When the High Priestess responds, the response seems to be coming from within him rather than from without. What do your instincts tell you? That's the response. Suddenly he knows what he needs to do. The decision is clear, and with this knowledge he heads off knowing what to do. But he again hears another inner voice which says, "We will meet again when you are ready to travel the most secret paths of all." The High Priestess refers to decisions, the common thread between the major arcana and the minor arcana, between the High Priestess and the twos is decisions and decision making. The High Priestess is about everything that we have heard in the Fool's journey. It represents becoming calm and receiving inner guidance, accessing your unconscious, following your intuition, there being so much knowledge that it will shed more light than you can possibly imagine, being quietly mysterious. Now, with the knowledge of what the Fool wants to do, he proceeds and comes to the Empress. He tells her that he knows what he wants to create. He has taken that decision, but he does not know how to create it. The Empress guides him, tells him that everything that is new is fragile, and when you create something new, then you need to nurture it, care for it, look after its needs, give it time and patience, give it love and attention, give it the love of a mother. The Empress is the mother archetype. She is the creator of life, the womb where a new idea or new life grows till it reaches maturity. This is why it symbolizes growth, and it connects to the number 3 of the minor arcana. The Empress is all about mothering, nourishment, providing nourishment, nurturance, care, abundance. So friends, after working on his decisions and developing his ideas, work, emotions and thoughts, the Fool moves further. He doesn't know how to manage what he has grown. So he approaches a great emperor who gives him the key. He says, strong will and a solid foundation of law and order. Where the Empress is the mother archetype, there the emperor is the father archetype. He is filled with protection, support, he's the provider, the disciplinarian, he's the authority, and all of these things are represented by the Emperor card. Protection, support, being the provider, creating discipline, being in authority, having willpower, executing law and order. It also represents an important man in the life of the querent. For example, it could be the husband, the father, the boss. Also, since the emperor is about achieving stability for whatever you have developed, this very thing connects the emperor to the 4s in the minor arcana, because the keyword for both is stability. Now friends, after having created a solid foundation and achieved stability in every area of life, the Fool is struck with a fear of losing it all and a fear that what he's created is not good enough. So he goes to a temple and he meets a Hierophant there, a wise and holy man. He tells it all to him, who says, either give up what you fear to lose so it no longer has power over you, or think of what you will still have after you've lost it. The Hierophant card is the teacher, he's the priest, he's the advisor. He's the answer that you receive when you have more questions than answers. He's the faith, he's the tradition, the wise counsel. He's the education and the belief system. Friends, this also corresponds to the 5s in the minor arcana, which are also about problems and having more questions than answers. The 5s are also about fears, just like the Hierophant. Furthermore, the Hierophant is about conforming to social norms and to tradition. So now our Fool, filled with the energy, the enthusiasm and the confidence, proceeds and reaches the crossroad, and he comes upon the road which he had intended to take, but instead he sees a woman standing at the start of the road. Now he had been in relationships earlier, but when he sees this woman, he feels differently about her, almost as though she is a part of himself. He is completely drawn to her. He chooses her and they proceed together. This lover's card, my dear friends, is about coming to a crossroad, which means choices, and often this choice can be between duty versus hearts or desires. The lover's card is about being in love. It can, however, show choosing the heart over the head, and it comes with solutions. The major arcana card of lovers relates to the 6s in the minor arcana. Both being representative of solutions. So friends, as our fool progresses on his life journey, he encounters enemies and he feels stuck. So he meets this charioteer, and this charioteer tells him to focus on victory completely and run down the enemies. The Chariot card, friends, is about war, struggle, and eventual hard-won victory over enemies. It is about obstacle, it is about nature, and it is about conquering your inner demons. It is about exerting will, asserting oneself, achieving hard control. The keyword of Chariot is effort, and the keyword of the sevens in the minor arcana is also effort. This is the major minor arcana connect between the sevens and the Chariot, because in both we are taking control in tough situations, we are managing responsibilities, we are finding a way to succeed. Also in the Chariot card, there is change and movement, even though physically not, but in terms of circumstances, it is about taking command. So friends, now our fool has been victorious over his enemies. So obviously he's feeling victorious, he's feeling lucky, luck favored, and as a result of that, he's feeling arrogant and powerful, even vengeful. He has hot passions within which he is unwilling to control and unable to control. In this state, he comes across a maiden whom he sees as very dainty, but she is taming a lion. She is trying to shut its mouth, and the lion shuts his mouth easily. When he inquires about this with the maiden explains that there will be inner passions, but they need to be kept in rein. So the Strength card, my friends, is about achieving control and inner strength. It is about being compassionate and patient. The Strength card, as in the case of the eights of the minor arcana, this is the major minor arcana connect. The Strength and the eights both talk about limitations and then transcending these limitations. They say that when there are rules and limitations, they help us create something higher. Our fool, friends, has been busy almost a lifetime trying to build, create, loving, hating, fighting and compromising and failing and succeeding, and after so much of activity, he has this profound need to retreat, to introspect. So he builds a small rustic home and he rests there for days together, and in the night he takes a lantern and goes out. Every night. Our card of the Hermit connects to the nines of the minor arcana, because it is that stage where you return to yourself and you look at yourself with a lantern. You stop to think, you shine a light on all that you've done, and you try to see what have I accomplished and what is it that yet remains to be accomplished. We return to ourselves because only we can really teach ourselves the most. The card Hermit is about introspection, peace, solitude. It is that time for withdrawal and the desire to be alone. That time when we go into an inner search and we look for and try to receive inner guidance. Our fool is drawn out from his dark hiding place by sunlight as though he is being pulled up from some low point on a wheel. It is time for luck and it is time for change. The wheel, friends, symbolizes completeness. The tens in the minor arcana also signify completeness. Hence, the Wheel of Fortune and the tens are the major minor arcana card connect. The wheel symbolizes rise and fall of fortunes. Further, it also brings the message of karma, which says that what goes around comes around. So our Wheel of Fortune is the card of luck. It is the card of change and movement. It is the time when luck favors us, destiny favors us. It is about our fortune, and it is about predestined karma. Friends, our Strength card is card 8 of the Major Arcana, whereas our Justice card is card 11th of the Major Arcana, especially in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. However, in some decks, the positions of the two cards are interchanged. As our Fool advances in his journey, he is sitting with uncertainty when he notices a blind, wise woman who is listening to two brothers. The rich brother has the whole inheritance, but as she carries out the judgment, she divides the complete inheritance equally between both brothers, the poor brother as well as the rich brother, despite each of them demanding to get the complete inheritance. She explains to the Fool that the poor has a greater need and he will be less wasteful with the money. Whereas the rich one, even though he has the complete inheritance, he will stop being so wasteful with the money. They don't see it, but the decision is good for both of them. Friends, Justice card is about karma. It is about cold, objective balance. It is about bearing the fruit, reaping the fruit of our karma done in the past. It is also about respecting justice. It is about reason, legalities, fairness, decisions. But above all, it is about giving and receiving justice. Now our Fool sits under a tree intent on finding his spiritual self. For 9 days without eating or drinking anything, without doing anything, he just sits under the tree. And then suddenly on the 9th day, he climbs on the tree and he hangs himself upside down on the tree. His perspective suddenly changes. He now dangles between the material and the spiritual worlds. This card, the Hanged Man, is about a release, finding a release, letting go. It is about suspending action, not doing anything, and waiting for rebirth. This card signifies rebirth. It also shows flexibility, self-sacrifice, going inwards, suspending action completely. When from this state of affairs and this state of mind, the Fool progresses and advances in his journey, he has a sense of loss within him. He is progressing on his spiritual journey, but he sees symbols of death around him. And he asks, "Am I dead?" He receives the answer that yes, in a way you are, because old ways are gone and now you are transformed. The death card it could be about physical death, but more often it is about endings and transformation. It is about a sweeping change. It is about internal transformation, changing who you are. Now, as our Fool recovers from his sense of loss, he realizes that he has been dealing with opposites in the Justice card as well as the Hanged Man card. In the Justice, there was an opposite side of two scales. There were opposites of right and wrong. On the other hand, on the Hanged Man, he had the opposites of the material and the spiritual worlds. Here in Temperance, he learns how to merge these opposites through moderation and balancing. Our Temperance card is a card of harmony. It is the card of health. It is the card of moderation, compromise, self-control, finding a balance. Now the Fool moves on with his new spiritual self. As he progresses, he meets a creature which is half goat and half god. People over there at his feet are engaging in all sorts of indulgences, basal desires. On talking to the half goat, half god creature, he receives the realization that those people are over there because of their own choice. They are bound by their own choice. They are experiencing material enslavement through their desires. The Devil card, friends, is about experiencing bondage, being chained, choosing to stay in ignorance, straying because of ignorance, feeling hopeless. It is about material obsession. Our Fool leaves the throne of our half goat, half god, and he reaches a tower. He realizes that this is a tower that he himself had built earlier. But inside this tower still live two things. One is his arrogance and the other is his ego. And suddenly from the sky a lightning hits, and that lightning shatters his arrogance and shatters his ego. And suddenly it also shatters his lies. And this idea that he had in his mind of being better than others, that idea is now gone. So the Tower card is about going through sudden change and a sudden revelation, suddenly realizing something. It could also signify falling down. As the tower breaks, our fool sits over there feeling completely as though empty. He comes across a beautiful girl and he drinks from the pool over there and he eats the fruit over there. He is looking for guidance, and this beautiful girl, she asks him to have hope and to follow his star. The star card, my dear friends, is about regaining hope. It is about being inspired. It is about feeling relaxed and calm and serene. Also about receiving guidance and being hopeful. Even if all feels empty and gone, there is still hope, for the future still remains. That is what the star card tells us. Following his star, the fool reaches a watery place. This is the land of poets. It is the land of emotions, uncontrolled emotions. It is the land of uncontrolled mind, of madmen. He can either lose himself here or he can surrender and float in the boat. The moon, my dear friends, represents imagination on the one hand. On the other hand, it represents confusion, fear, emotions which are uncontrolled, lies and deceit, visions which when negative are illusions. So our fool gets into the boat, and as his journey continues, he reaches a serene pool, and here he sees himself as a transformed new self. He feels that he has transformed into a new child. He feels like a child again. The Sun card is about being reborn. It is about finding your inner light. It is about becoming enlightened, feeling happy. And it is about having assurance, feeling assured. Now our fool is all optimistic, and as he moves from the sun, he hopes for his final step. Instead, he encounters an angel who says to him, "Lay your past to rest. Release the past of your own selves. This is what you were in the past, so release it all." So the fool releases all his past selves because he has developed into something even more beautiful now. Our Judgment card, friends, is about rebirth and resurrection. It is about releasing the past. It is about forgiving and letting go. Forgiving ourselves and forgiving others. It is about release. It is about an inner calling. It is also about making a judgment. And now our fool takes his last steps on the fool's journey. And friends, he reaches back to the cliff where he had started his journey in the fool's card. This is the same cliff where he had actually almost stepped over the cliff when he was young and too foolish to look where he was going. But now he sees his position very differently. He had thought he could concentrate on one and neglect the other. For example, concentrate on the body, forget the mind, concentrate on the material, forget the spiritual. But now he knows better. He knows that mind and body, past and future, individual and world, everything is one, and included in the fool and the mystic, who are both doorways to the secrets of the universe. Now with a knowing smile, the fool takes that final step right off the cliff, and instead of falling, he soars higher and higher until the whole world is his to see. He ends exactly where he had begun. It's a new beginning where he had ended. The whole world has completed, and the fool's journey is now complete. The World card, my dear friends, is about completion. It is about successes. It is about accomplishments. It is about accomplishing everything that you desired and more. It is about feeling fulfilled. It is about being fulfilled. It is about being involved, integrated. It is also about integrating different parts of yourself. So now the Fool has integrated different parts of himself into himself. He is not neglecting one part at the cost of the other. Everything has integrated into the one and only.